MVP 56-3给自己点一个赞，冠军。
I don't think Serral has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
It gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers.
看了，谁的这？
Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up.
A big clump here from Curie. Tries to split everything up.
결승가는 열립니까?
Giant force of Bailings rolling in and clearing the hell. That's massive.
Mario is once again.
Serral did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.
And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to another day here. Another day of World Team League WTL. World Team League? Sorry, my apologies. Masters Coliseum 8. I'm, of course, Show Live VIP. With me, I'm joined by these amazing players, by the people in the chat, and by my plushies as well. Welcome one and all to the group stage of Masters Coliseum. Oh boy. Last night, of course, we were live with day number 1 of Group A, and we were able to embrace at least half of the group. As a reminder, this is a round-robin group stage, and Group A consists of 4 amazing players. You can see them here before you: Astrea, Serral, SHIN, and Cure. Oh boy, very stacked group. I mean, all the groups are stacked. As you can see them all before you: Group A, B, C, and D. Of course, a all-around robin, and we'll be casting every single group here live on the CranKy Ducklings. As always, Papi, as always. We'll be casting it live. This is going to be a tournament that is going to be lasting until the end of January. On top of that, it doesn't just last till the end of January. Every weekend, every Saturday and Sunday, we have you some Masters Coliseum going through the group stage first, then into the playoff bracket. We have tonight's matches here. It's going to be Serral versus Astrea, Serral versus SHIN, and SHIN versus Cure. Oh boy. And so far, when it comes to the standings of the group, Astrea has been on fire. Astrea took down both SHIN and Cure. Astrea was on fire last night. If you missed out on it, I do recommend the VODs. I recommend the VODs because Astrea, he's on top of the group, he's on top of the world, but now he's up against the best Zerg player in the world. He's up against Serral. Serral versus Astrea is going to be coming up next. It's going to be a brutal PvZ. Serral is going to be coming in as the heavy favorite, but Astrea has been on point, and I want to believe that Astrea can cause an upset. I want to believe, Papi, I want to believe. We'll soon be embracing that matchup. Likewise, we have that ZVZ between Serral and SHIN. Likewise, a ZVT between Cure and SHIN to end the night. 3 best of 3s. As a reminder, it's going to be a best of 3, not a best of 5. Meanwhile, you can see here the ratings on Aligulak here for who will make it out in first place. 1.25% for Astrea, and he is looking so damn good despite that. Take that, Aligulak. Imagine people citing Aligulak for stats, Papi. Ay. As we have a look here at some of the historical records between Astrea and Serral, you can see that quite heavily in favor of Serral. Serral winning every single series that they have faced up in. Astrea has taken maps, but only maps, never a series itself. So we'll see if Astrea can win a series for the first time against Serral. I mean, there's a first for everything. There is a first for everything here. Let's go, Happy. Let's go. Just catching up with the chat, I see Sando, I see Psycons, Easy, Phil, Lajos as well. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Bienvenidos todos, bienvenidos. Shema, I saw Trishy in the chat as well. Shema. Good to see you all. And good to see you all also at the start of the broadcast. Sounder resubscribed with Twitch Prime. God, thank you so much for the Twitch Prime. Thank you so much for resubscribing for 49 months. That's a lot of months. That's a lot of months, Papi. Thank you so much for the support, as we are soon going to be embracing the Masters Coliseum. Let's go. We're jumping into the Tenkaichi Budokai here. Astrea has already shown that he has unlocked the power. He has been able to go Super Saiyan, even unlocked a bit of Ultra Instinct as well. But has he mastered it? That is the question. Has he mastered that form? He's going to need to up against Serral. Oh boy. Is going to need to here. As players are currently getting ready, there we go. The cameras are set. We have both Astrea and Serral before us here, and we have our vetoes coming in. Game 1 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. Game 2 on Leylines. Game 3 is going to be on Amygdala. Let's go. We have our 3 maps. We have our bans and vetoes as well. We can see Neon Violet Square being vetoed, Ultra Love and El Dorado. Standard vetoes so far. Likewise with Whispers of Gold, Frostline, and King's Cove as well. Both players have decided to get rid of all the large maps. All the large maps have been gotten rid of, as well as some of the more defensive and more exposed maps as well. So these are some of the more standard maps in the map pool. I say that Abyssal Reef is quite a large map despite that. Not as large as Neon Violet Square, of course, but very defendable, and I want to favor Astrea here. Something that I spoke about last night that we didn't really get to embrace is Astrea's late game. Astrea, he has very, very well-versed late game. I want to believe his late game can even be comparable to that of Serral as well, if he can get there in a good position, and Abyssal Reef would be a good map for that. So to see if he can turtle enough, if he can stabilize, get up to 4 or 5 bases, embrace Skytoss, embrace a late game, can Astrea get there? If there were ever to be a map for it, it would be Abyssal Reef. 100%. 100% it would be Abyssal Reef. We'll see if we can embrace it. Likewise, we'll see if Serral can stop Astrea from getting there. We'll see if we can stop him from getting there, or otherwise engulf the entire map and now trade him in that kind of game state. Game 1 might be a long one. Might be a long one, Papi. Yeah. And here we go. We're jumping into game 1. And in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Astrea, the American Protoss. Let's go. And in the top left-hand corner, we have the Finnish Zerg player Serral for Basilisk. Whew. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is time to get your gamba going. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. As you do place those bets. Again, Serral is going to be the heavy favorite coming into this. That is true, but I want to believe. I want to believe in the power of Astrea. You can see they're 95.92% in favor of Serral, says Ligilak, but back, we have, I mean, despite the Ligilak ratings here, Astrea has been popping up because we have seen the growth of Astrea here. We spoke about this yesterday, but Astrea, he has been improving so much over the past 2 to 3 months. Post EWC, it's been very impressive to see the rise of Astrea. That's why we did favor him coming into this group. That's why we've seen him take down player after player. But now we have the final boss. The final boss is upon us. Before we get into that, shout out to all the sponsors, of course, of the tournament. Shout out to SCBoy.u and Pew Pew. Thank you so much to the sponsors. Without them, this event would not be possible. Without them, StarCraft would be worse off. Boy. So big shout out to the sponsors. Big shout out to SCBoy for organizing the event as well, as we jump into game 1. So far, gate expand here out of Astrea, setting up his cybercore, just walling up here on 2 bases. Meanwhile, Serral did go for a 15 hatch opener, just a little bit more efficient here early on, able to get his expansion up and running before the worker has arrived to delay the expansion itself to force an unnatural natural. And so far, so good. We're settling into our game. We are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Whew. And I'm most curious when it comes to, my eyes are going to be on Astrea. My eyes are going to be on Astrea. I feel like Serral is most likely going to play this slow, play it out slow, just engulf the map and get the greater economy, gain map control, and try to delay the expansions of Astrea. I would not be surprised if Serral does go for a slower, later game approach here towards Astrea. That's usually how he does approach this. Meanwhile, oh my god, we are opening up very aggressively here. Twilight Council. It's going to be a Twilight Council opener here out of Astrea. Now, with a Twilight Council opener, this can lead into a couple different things. This could be either a DT-based opener, DTs into an Archon drop into a 3rd base, would be a macro build. This could be a commitment into Glaive Adepts. We could throw down extra gateways, go into Glaives, harass across the map, then expand from there instead. Or this could be a bit of a quirky Astrea build. I'm leaning away from the Astrea build, and I'm leaning towards something more like DTs or Adepts. We'll keep an eye on the Twilight Council and on the gases as well. We're staying 3 and 3 in gas, all 6. That should be, oh my god, that is not what I was expecting. It's gonna be blink instead. Let's go. Now, if you tuned into, I believe it was the qualifiers of Master Coliseum, you would have seen this build before. Astrea, he is going into blink, not glaives or DTs. This looks like a glaive based opener, but it is not. This should be a 2-base all-in out of Astrea. We should be seeing extra gateways soon being thrown down, and this should be a big commitment here. You would not rush into blink without good reason. And he's setting up, yeah, even with a proxy reinforcement point as well. Now, bearing in mind, now this aggression, this move out from Astrea will not have a robo, will not have a warp prism, just because you can't really afford it. With all this cash, you're warping as many stalkers as possible. So without a prism, you need a reinforcement point. That is what the pylon and soon-to-be gateway is going to be made for. We have 2 gates back at home, soon to be 3, so 3 gates back at home, and we should be seeing a proxy 4th gateway. There it is, 4-gate blink. Let's go. 4-gate blink out of Astrea. Meanwhile, Serral going to be going for, a Baneling Nest response. Fun fact, what does that mean? That means that Serral believes it's Glaives. Serral, he's getting ready for Glaive Adepts. That is, I mean, Banelings, they do nothing against Stalkers. They are, I wouldn't say the worst option, but they're not very effective. Not very effective against Blink Stalkers, so this is already ideal for Astrea. Oh, the Link Scout does confirm the gateway. Big moment for Serral, and can he deny that gateway from really getting up and running here? It looks like he can. Lings, they do divert, and Serral, he will depower this gateway. He will depower. Astrea is going to try to save it. Second pylon is on the way. The rest of the army is responding as well. Blink is finishing up in 1 second. Yeah, the Stalkers are revealed. The pylon is safe. And Astrea can warp in. That's all or nothing for Astrea. He throws down 2 more gates behind this. What does that mean? I believe 2 gate, 6 gate all in. Well, 2 base, 6 gate all in is what I meant to say. That's a lot of gateways, and that's only 2 bases. No third. It is completely an all in here from Astrea. Roach Horns on the way. Serral, he realizes his mistake. He realizes that he needs Roaches, not Lingbane, to defend. But Lings are coming from behind. They come in for a surround. One Stalker does get caught out, and before Astrea can really get this going, he gets shut down. He's getting shut down. A brutal surround here. 2 Stalkers do fall. Every Stalker counts. And Serral, he wants more than that. He wants more. He takes out 3 more. 3 more Stalkers go down. And that's going to be the winner, taking out the sails here for Astrea. Oof, that was a brutal loss here for the Protoss player, and once again Astrea, he blinked forward, which means he gets punished for the blink, losing another 3 Stalkers. And that should be a hold. At this point, another 2 Stalkers go down. Too many losses. Too many losses here at this point. When you're going all in like this, you cannot afford those losses. And with that, Serral, he will shut this down. He will shut down the all-in, shut down the proxy. And remember, Astrea has nothing else behind this. There's no Forge, there's no Robo, there's no third expansion. There is no other tech here other than Blink Stalkers. So this is looking quite bleak for the Protoss. Looking very bleak here for our NA Hope. The American Hope, Papi. He's in trouble. He's in a lot of trouble. And at this point, Serral has bought enough time. Now he's building up Roaches, getting a third expansion, joining on up, and looking very secure. As Astrea, he has to make this work in some way, shape, or form. Somehow, Papi, somehow. Gonna be doing what he can while they don't quite connect. Nice dodge here from Astrea. But honestly, he shouldn't be able to push into up the ramp at this point. Does attempt to, takes down 1 Ravager. Not bad. Takes down a Ravager. Forces back the Stalkers. And yeah, as he tries to fight back, I mean, he bleeds out even more Stalkers. You could argue that, hey, he's killing another Ravager. I mean, sure, but it's not worth it. It's not worth it at this point. Too many losses for Astrea. He plummets in supply. Again, the longer this goes on, the worse it's been for Astrea. GG gets called, and Serral, he holds, he defends, he takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Serral does take the first game here. And again, it did come down to Astrea's build of choice. He went for a 2-base all-in. Unfortunately, he got scattered. Unfortunately, straight up, just got scouted. Serral, he was able to get eyes on it. He was able to shut it down ahead of time. And Astrea never really got able to build up his Stalker count. Ideally, with that kind of all-in, you want to build up your Stalkers over time. Get up to 10, 12, 14, 16, 18 Stalkers by the time you're barreling down that natural. But we saw that early on, Astrea, he was losing far too many. He was losing groups of 2, 3, 4 Stalkers at a time. And it did add up. It did stack up. And in the end, Astrea, he ran out of steam. And now that's leading us into game number 2. It's going to be on a much smaller map on ley lines. And my initial prediction, my initial thoughts coming into this series is now out the window. I thought that on Abyssal Reef, that would be the game where Astrea would play out a longer game instead, would try to macro, would try to slow the game down and get into that kind of more mid to late game scenario. That is not what happened, and that means the pressure is on. And if he wanted to embrace that kind of style, it's going to be much more difficult on these smaller maps. Not impossible, but difficult. As up next is going to be ley lines, so we'll see how Astrea will approach this. After game 1, and considering the map for game 2, I'm expecting some more aggression at this point. I'm expecting something more aggressive, not necessarily a 2-base all-in, but maybe, you know, Glaive Adepts into a third, maybe a DT opener into a third, maybe getting into fast Blink off of a third base as well. Less so 2-base aggression. But we'll see. We shall see. As we are jumping into game 2. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have Astrea. Down in this series, we'll see if we can bounce back. Meanwhile, in the bottom left-hand corner, we have Serral for Basilisk. So we are going to be settling in. So far, so good. Astrea moving out across the map to get his probe scout going. Meanwhile, Serral goes for a 15 hatch once again, getting his natural up and running. And is going to be settling into his hatch gas pool. Here we go. He's going to be settling in. As we do settle into our openers, and again, my eyes are going to mainly be on Astrea here. Serral most likely is going to be more of a reactive player to what Astrea brings to the table, to the builds that he does embrace. As Astrea, just being as annoying as possible, is attempting to delay some of the mining here in the main with that probe. Just being as annoying as possible. From here we can settle in. Astrea going for a gate expand into Cybercore. Now what I should also emphasize, especially if you are a fan of Astrea, is that this match isn't necessarily the most important match for Astrea, because Astrea popped off last night and because he already beat Kira and he already beat Shin. Because of those wins from Astrea, there is a higher chance that he's going to make it out of the group and a lower chance that he doesn't. Because of his performances already. So there is a little bit less weight on this series and on Astrea's shoulders. There is, though, a chance, I believe, if Shin defeats Serral, then Astrea's going to be in trouble. Then it may come down to map score. But when it comes to the greater context of the group itself, again, thankfully, Astrea, he has a little bit that he can fall back on because of his strong performance last night. Behind this, it is going to be a Stargate opener from Astrea. So standard play so far. Stargate into Oracle into a third, I would imagine. It's really after the third base that I'm most curious about what Astrea is going to do. And what kind of build he transitions into. But now poking in, does threaten the third. Oracle's on the way, as I did mention. Should just be Oracle into triple Oracle into a third base. Nothing too wild here from Astrea. Not this time. A crazy game one. It's one of those things where if you gamble like that, you take a chance. It is a chance, right? It is a gamble at the end of the day. Either works or doesn't. You either look amazing, you look incredible, or less so. Meanwhile, Astrea, he races back home with the Adept. Will be able to expand, getting his third base as we speak. And we'll see what the Oracle can get done. First Oracle's moving out, second Oracle's on the way. Serral's settling into his game. There's that Twilight Council pop. Now, this is going to be an earlier Twilight Council for Astrea. This can go one of two ways, either fast Glaives or fast Blink. I'm leaning towards Blink. Now, this is just a really safe way, and it is a way to be assertive as well. Astrea went for the same build last night against Shin, if you remember, on this very map, actually, if I remember correctly, where he was able to out-trade Shin over time and overwhelm him. So this should be Blink. Now, the way that this Blink timing works is that if Serral were to be going for an all-in, for example, then Astrea would finish Blink in time to defend, and he'd have a pretty strong defense as a result at his third. Meanwhile, here, aggressively, Astrea, he can apply pressure a lot earlier as well, but it comes down to his control. It comes down to Astrea's micro to be able to gain as much value as possible. Double Oracle does hit the natural. 3 drones going to be going down. Meanwhile, if you did notice, Serral did get a full scout. He saw the main base, and Serral, he saw the lack of the lack of Forge. That tells Serral that it's going to be Blink, not Blink plus one, or a delayed +1, I should say, earlier Blink timing, which means it is not as safe to try to skip Roaches. So Roach Horn gets placed. Serral knows how aggressive Astrea is about to be. Serral, he knows everything. So with this, Serral, he can go into earlier Roaches, earlier Ravagers, and get ready for the assault. As Astrea moves out, and again, Astrea, he can afford to be aggressive like this, hunt down Overlords to poke in, because Blink is on the horizon. It's soon going to finish. And Astrea shouldn't lose much here. Just poking in, gets an Overlord. You see Serral trying to catch reinforcements, and he will! Oh, it does get one of the Stalkers, does try to, I should say, but no, the Stalker does slip away. Ooh, very close. Doesn't manage to slip away. Oracles, they come in to reinforce, just throwing down those revelations, clearing up the creep. Astrea looking for another way in. Blink is finishing up. Remember, the downside here is that +1 is going to be heavily delayed for Astrea, so upgrade-wise, he's going to be lacking more than he otherwise would. Focusing towards the 4th. So far, Serral is keeping up, setting up for us around. Lings instead going for a counter-attack instead. They will catch out some Stalkers. Nice blink there from Astrea, will preserve all his Stalkers, does get away. Behind this, going into charge, into a Temple Archives. So Astrea, I mean, again, this is the same build that we saw against Shin, where Astrea, he's being hyper-aggressive with Stalkers, and he's going to follow it up with charge, with +1, with Archons, and with Storm as well. Just a very aggressive, very assertive style here from Astrea. It's all designed to get damage. It's all designed to pick off Queens, bases, expansions, Overlords, trade against the army. But so far, Astrea, he hasn't been that successful. Not as much as he was against Shin. He's looking for a way in, he's poking, he's prodding, but so far Serral, he's been able to maintain his creep, been able to maintain his economy, his bases. Serral is on 74 workers, now taking into Hydra. We have a couple of safety roaches on the way, and ooh, Serral does get supply blocked. A big supply block here for Serral. 7 Overlords on the way. A laser, is that you? Ay. 7 Overlords in production. That will slow Serral down, and Serral is taking up into a hive, into a lurker den. Hydra upgrades on the way. This does give Astrea some breathing room, and once again, another scout. Serral confirms it is not going to be a rover-based follow-up, it's going to be Charger Archon. He confirms the Storm as well. So Serral sees everything he needs to. And he knows that right now, more than anything, he needs to prioritize lurkers. He may even morph in lurkers before his hive is done. Just have them ready. We'll see how safe Serral does play. Now, there is going to be a window. There's going to be a window in time where Astrea has Storm and Serral does not have lurkers. So Astrea is moving out. Wants to make use of that window. And we'll see if he can break through. So far, pushing up the ramp. Clearing a creep. Moving out towards the bases. Let's move out. Zell say, do hit the northern expansion. The base is going to be denied. Not bad. Expansion is going to be denied. Lings, they dive in the main army. Will they force out a Storm? And Astrea is down to 2 more Storms. Doesn't have many to work with. Did deny the expansion, but Astrea, he was hoping for a little bit more. And remember, that window that was available, it's closing. The window is closing, lurkers are morphing in. Serral just needs a little bit more time. He will get it. 6 lurkers on the horizon. We can see Astrea taking into Sky Toss. Fleet Beacon's on the way, and Astrea, he pulls out. Astrea, he races back home. I say that does actually rotate back around. Once again, rotating towards the south. Several of the lurkers are somewhat in position. I believe there's 2 lurkers towards the south. The others are with the main army. Storm's going up. Catching a queen. Grazing the Lings. Another storm gets baited out. There's still more storms available though. But Astrea, he cannot push up the ramp, not into that lurker. And the longer this goes on, the more lurkers are morphing in. Which is why Astrea, he needs that Sky Toss. And there it is, 2 more Stargates. That's going to be triple Stargate production. Fleet Beacon is done, and getting into Tempest, Carrier, and Mothership. So Astrea, he's soon to take to the skies. And so far, he's done well for himself. He's on 4, soon to be 5 bases. He has map control, more importantly. What I will say is that Astrea was hoping for more damage. He was hoping to trade a little bit better and engage with the army and maybe knock down an expansion, more than just denying 1 base. So he's still really fishing for any more damage. Nice Storm! And Storm does connect. The backup Storm as well. Oh my god, the lurkers, they take a lot of damage and they're all going to go down. Yeah, massive trade here for Astrea. Shuts down 4 lurkers. And will preserve most of his High Templar. I think he only lost 1. Then 1 High Templar went down. Tempest production has begun. Expansion gets denied. Once again, nice Biggles here by Astrea, maintaining his map control, catching out the roaches. And Serral in a bit of trouble here. His lurker count did take a big hit, and there we go, 5 more lurkers on the way to reinforce. And again, Astrea doesn't have to push in. Ideally, he would love to take down an expansion, but so far, Serral, he's holding his own. And Astrea is more than fine with that. As time goes on, as time progresses, he's building up that Tempest count. At the same time, all Corruptors have hit the field. Corruptors are available. Astrea moving in. Let's move in. Storm's going to be going up. It's going to be 4 drone kills. Not bad. Getting a handful of workers. Oh my god, the field has stasis. That's a lot of stasis. The field is real. Something get baited out now that Serral has realized. Well, that's going to be a cancel on the expansion. Lurkers trying to break out. That's a lot of lurkers. And again, Astrea, he cannot engage. Not into that kind of arming, but he doesn't want to. Nice contamination. Delays +2. Oh my god. The blink gets punished. Don't blink like that, Astrea. Calm down. Ooh. Flanking storms. Not ideal. It's going to be 1, 2, 3 High Templar going down. 1. There we go. 2 High Templar. Soon to be 3. Oh, that was an expensive trade for Astrea. That was not ideal. As Serral, he has now been able to double expand. He's trying to take these forward bases. Taking the high ground and low ground at the same time. And Astrea, can he deny any more bases? I'm not sure if he can. Especially with only, I was going to say only 4. He has 6 High Templar with the main army. And more High Templar coming in. Plenty of storms. Archon's now morphing in as well. Tempest count looking quite healthy. He's on what, 5 to 6 Tempest. Second Cybercore for upgrades. Serral is trying to be active, and again, it's on Serral here to try to break the defensive line of Astrea. Not sure if he can. Gets a cannon. Nidus on the right hand side. Nidus does finish up. Now Serral can rotate. Pushing towards the south as well. Astrea, can he keep up? And that's a lot of lurkers. Does spot the Nidus. Serral trying to spread apart his attention. Does attempt to. Mothership is in position. Recall is going to be available. Bear that in mind. There's going to be that recall. And again, as we were saying before, Astrea has no reason to push out. He has no reason to push out. It's all about defending. All about defending and refining his army. Comes in for a pseudo surround. High Templar gets caught out. Should be a better trade for Serral. Yeah, it's all about vying for map control. It's all about vying for map control, denying fringe bases. Tempest are getting very ambitious here. Mothership goes down. And massive pickup. Mothership does fall. Corruptors coming in from behind. Ooh, but they get zoned away. Yeah, nice map awareness here for Astrea. Knew the army was coming in from behind. Able to zone away. Denies that center expansion. So far, Serral, his base count in his bank isn't really looking too high here. Sure, he's got 4,000 minerals in the bank and 2k gas, but Astrea, he's keeping up, like, resource-wise. There we go, Serral trying to collapse in. It takes a massive storm to the face. Oh my god. Yeah, the storms are brutal. Corruptors, they get very low. Very nice kiting here by Astrea. And again, we spoke about this before, coming into Abyssal Reef, how I was saying that Astrea, he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. Which is why I assumed he was going to go for this kind of style on Abyssal Reef. That didn't happen. It didn't happen on Abyssal, but we're getting there here on ley lines. And this is where Astrea can thrive. It would have been nice if he tried to go here in game 1 as well, but regardless. He's holding his own. Broodlord's now on the way. 5 Broodlords and 5 Infestors. Again, Broodlord Infestor is part of the most ideal composition here for the late game for Serral. Tempest pushing in. Another expansion going down. Very nice pickup. But Astrea has to be very careful here as he denies another expansion. That's a kill, not a cancel. Very nicely done. Serral desperately double expanding. Again, Serral does not have a bank. He does not have a bank. He's being starved out. Typically, ideally, the Zerg player wants to be up on bases. He wants to be up in expansions and up in economy. That is not the case here. That is not the case for Astrea. Gets another kill, another base. Sorry, it was not the case for Serral, is what I meant to say. As Serral, he's hurting. Serral, he's hurting. He's burning through his bank. He needs an expansion soon. And it's all on Astrea to rotate. To just keep rotating and keep denying the fringe bases. Again, Astrea doesn't have to push into creep. He just has to deny these expansions. And once again, another cancel. That's all he has to do. Just rotate, cancel bases over and over and over again. And behind it, just build up a greater economy. Build up a greater bank. Serral, he needs this expansion. He has to fight. The fungal! Ooh, massive fungal connects. The one-eye Templar goes down. Two-eye Templar go down. There's three left. Ooh, yeah, massive fight here. But the last the Archons, they hold their own. The Tempest, they survive. Astrea, he's holding. Astrea doesn't lose too much there. He lost mainly High Templar. The Tempest, they hold their own. Serral goes for run by, but last, Astrea's in position. Here we go. As Tempest shot's going to be going off. Base goes down. Nicely done. Takes down the expansion. Serral, he has no bank. He has almost no bank at this point. But what I will say, even though Serral, even though he's starving for money, he has a terrifying arm. Like, he can still take a fight. I do see people pointing out, and I did notice it myself, that every now and then there is like a frame drop here or there. I have noticed that myself. We are casting from a clean feed, so we have no control over that. You saw it there as well. But we are casting from a clean feed, so that is out of our hands, unfortunately. Feels bad, man. We are not in game, so those are just dropped frames from the observer PC, from whoever is observing. Just as a heads up. Thankfully, it doesn't happen too often, thankfully. It's like every now and then, there's like a frame missing. As Astrea, he does push in, once again going for the fringe expansion. Oh, Fungal doesn't quite connect. Nice feedbacks. Very nice feedbacks here from Astrea, but the Fungal will still come in. Oh, High Templar get caught out. There's only 3 High Templar. Oh, yeah, it's not enough High Templar. 3 of them do fall. No more storms. And Serral, he will save the expansion. And this is a very important, very crucial moment for Serral. What just happened? Serral, he is triple expanding. He's taking top left and the 2 center bases. He's taking 3 bases at once, and if they get up and running, then Serral can maintain himself. So there's a lot of pressure on Astrea here to deny these bases. We'll see if he can. More High Templar coming in to reinforce. Storm does zone. Storm does zone away. Expansion is denied. Rotating back down. This base is already almost mined out, so this expansion towards the south is not as important for Serral. Remember, Serral, he's taking 2 bases towards the north. So Serral, he now has an economy. It's getting up and running. He's building up a bank as we speak. And what's scary about what's happening here is that Serral is looking for one big fight. Because the reality is, even though Astrea has a massive bank, if Serral can win one fight, he can just snowball out of control and just win the game then and there. Before Astrea can remax. That's the scary thing, is that this army from Astrea takes a very long time to rebuild. Most likely, if he has to remax, he's going to remax on like purely a gateway army, right? Like on pure Blink Stalker. That's typically what occurs. So it's a very delicate dance here for Astrea. If the fight goes too poorly, it doesn't matter how much money you have in the bank, you could just lose. You could just straight up lose the game. So he has to be so careful here. I see someone asking for efficiency. We are not in game, so we can't show that. As Astrea does rotate. So far denying the southern expansions, but the northern bases are getting up and running. They're getting up and running as we speak. We can see Astrea trying to do something about it, but there's a line of lurkers ready for this. Astrea trying to push his way in. Doing what he can. Ling's a hit bottom right. Astrea losing workers. Astrea will lose this northern army as well. Ooh, the Immortals and High Templar go down. Much better trade here for Serral. You can even see Astrea looking a little bit frustrated there on cams. Loses 18 workers, an entire mineral line. Now, to be fair, because of the high bank, Astrea, he can get away with a lower probe count. He can get away with less workers. That is true. Doesn't need as many. Zelta get forced back. Once again, Astrea just playing the long game. We're just trying to deny these fringe bases. Dives on lurkers. He gets one. One lurker goes down, but he will lose everything else. Mainly throwing away zealots. Again, Astrea just doing a good job here at making use of his mineral bank. Just morphing in wave after wave of zealots, knocking down bases. At least attempting to. Astrea going for the northern expansion. Finally, he's gotten here. How about the side defense? It's buying a lot of time. Serral, he's responding. Nice zealot run by. As Zelta get a kill. Not bad. They get a kill, not a cancel. Base does fall. Astrea doesn't like his chances. He backs up. Again, Astrea respecting the main army of Serral quite a bit. Pulls away. Rotates once again. Rotating towards the south, actually. Okay. Rotating over. Serral trying to look for the main army as well. Moving in with the infestors. No, the infestors. Oh my dear, overextend. Massive pickups. He gets 3. He gets 4. It's gonna be 5. Oh, barely not. But 5 infestors go down. Very nicely done. Serral, he was looking for the army, but he gets caught out. He gets caught with his pants down. Massive recall. Recall comes in. Another base is gonna fall. Remember, Astrea, he has one more recall available. He has a base recall if need be. Gets a mineral line. Gets 11 workers. Astrea pushing in. Still respecting the main army, still backs up. Doesn't engage with the Broodlords. Astrea, calm down. You can see on cams he's getting a little bit fidgety. I don't blame him, but like he has to just keep his cool. Oh, it's Astrea. Serral, he dives in. Show us on cams. Serral dives in. Oh, he barely doesn't get many Tempest. The Tempests get low, but they survive. Astrea once again rotating. Again, it's so important that Serral got the top left-hand base up and running. Like, it's been able to maintain him. He's been able to maintain himself for so long. Zelta dive in. They get another infestor. Oh, barely not. They don't kill an infestor, but they get very low. They get low. Fungal goes up, catches out 2 Archons and the Oracles. Oh, the Chain Fungal's coming in. And the Oracles will go down. Massive pickups. That means no more Revelations, but oh, those are brutal storms on the main army. Yeah, you can see these Corruptors. One more storm. GG gets called as he does whittle him down, and Astrea takes game number 2. Whew. GG. That was so tense. That was insanely tense for so long. Whew. GG, well played. Astrea able to force him into his game. I said this before. If you weren't here for game 1, then I recommend the VODs. But for game 1, I expected something similar here from Astrea. We didn't get that. Game 1, Astrea went for an all-in. But again, everyone knows that Astrea has some of the best late-game PvZ in the world. We all know this. We all expect this. Which is why I was surprised to see Astrea go for an all-in instead in game 1. It was like, Papi, what? Yeah, what? Yeah, you're the best at the late game. What's going on? So game 1 was really, I think game 1 was meant to be more of like Astrea trying to catch Serral off guard. Because Astrea has a reputation for his late game, I think game 1 was to try to catch him off. didn't work out. Here in game 2, we got to see what he does best. Again, Astrea, if you are familiar with EPT NA, for example, if you watch the Americas Regionals, you would know that time and time again, season after season, we've seen so much late game between Astrea and Scarlet. It's like Astrea took that mantle from Need, and that's where he can take it here to the best players in the world. That is the specific scenario where Astrea can take it to the best players in the world. And once again, as we get into game 3, this is where Astrea ideally wants to bring it as well. To try to force that longer later game, gain map control early on, take more bases, gain map control, and work towards that kind of sky toss based army. That is what Astrea wants. Serral ideally wants to do his best to deny that from happening. We'll see if he can. We'll see if he can. Whew. Let's go. Let us go. Just catching up in the chat. Hi. Can the players see each other's cameras or just the audience? I believe they can see each other's cameras. So the players, they share a Zoom call. They share a Zoom call with the production team. So yes, the players, they can see each other. I would imagine they can see each other. I mean, there's no reason to. Even though they can, it's probably worse if you try to look at your opponents because you want to focus on your game. It's kind of like in GSL, for example, where you have the players like facing off against each other, but there's no reason to look over. If you're watching EWC, for example, Esports World Cup, you would know that they had their desks facing each other, but like you'd never look over. Like, why would you? It probably hurts you more than anything, but here we go. Getting into game number 3, the ace match. In the bottom left-hand corner, we have Astrea, and in the top right, we have Serral as well. Let's go. But yeah, if you remember, if you're watching EWC, Esports World Cup, then you would know that at EWC, the players were facing each other, but like you never would like not look at your monitor. Like, why would you? It would, it's not a good idea. They wouldn't do that though. They have honor. That's kind of like the wrong perspective, I think. They could look at each other, but it probably like makes you play worse. There's nothing wrong with looking. Here we go. See the reflection of the minimap on their sunglasses, of course. Of course. If only they were wearing glasses. If only. Here we go. We're getting into the ace match, getting into game 3. We're calming things down here on Amygdala. Now, something about Amygdala is that the rush distance by ground is longer on this map. So when it comes to defending against all-ins, it is a little bit easier here on Amygdala compared to on Ley Lines or on Ultra Love or on Whispers of Gold, for example. So I do like this map coming in for Astrea. This map isn't as defendable as Abyssal Reef, for example, unfortunately. So I'm still a little bit sad that we didn't. That Astrea went for an all-in on Abyssal Reef. Still a little bit sad. But here on Amygdala, this is actually a pretty good map for the late game. The reason for this is because it can be quite difficult harassing multiple bases at once, specifically referring to the northern and southern bases. Meanwhile, that's a 2-gate opener. Okay, Astrea's being aggressive. It's going to be a 2-gate opener from Astrea. He's going to be going for a more aggressive start. With a 2-gate opener, this means double adept harass. This can lead into a 3rd and 4th adept as well. If you were here last night, you would have seen this opener against SHIN. Did the same thing, where he was active, he was aggressive against SHIN early on, and led into a more intense mid-game as well. If you remember, we went into initially double adept harass, which, as you can see here, 2 adepts being credited at the same time, and this led into a quadruple adept move out with the oracles at the same time, if you recall. Here we go. Okay. As Astrea is going to move out, Lings, they slip in, they go for the scout, and the probe is in position just in time. The probe is going to fall, but Least does deny the scout. So no! Astrea! As that one Schrader attempt, I was about to say, oh, never mind, like he saves the probe, but he killed his own probe. He could have saved it. Astrea, he's so ruthless. It's a power play here where Serral wanted to kill the probe himself, but Astrea kills it in his face. Nah, I won't let you kill my unit. And Serral's like, you could have saved it. What's going on? Oh. Now, I did say before, in game number 2, where there were a couple of moments where it did look like Astrea was a little bit nervous, and already we've seen a couple of misclicks here. We saw the misclick on the probe, we saw here a misclick on the rocks instead of the lings as well. So Astrea needs to like take a breath. we need to calm down, Pappy, calm down. He's in a good place in this series, but hopefully we can settle in. Ooh, early roach one here by Serral. Meanwhile, Astrea setting up a proxy across the map. Building up towards 4 gates. It's 3 gates back at home and a 4th proxied. When he's just barely out of vision, and here we go. The Adepts are soon to move in and strike that natural. Lings, they get eyes on the 3rd. Lings are across the map. Astrea waiting to pull the trigger. There we go, he does commit, and the Overlord will spot this. So Serral, he does respond. He races back home. He's looking to wall off. Adepts say shade in, but Serral, he does have enough time. He does fully wall off in the end. And Astrea, he is denied. Serral, he's holding his own. At the same time, Adepts they shade in towards the 3rd base, but no saturation. No saturation from Serral. No drones being killed, not yet. So impressive defense here by Serral, and this was a big commitment from Astrea. Serral did have to cancel the wall a couple of times at least. And Astrea's still looking for a way in, but now there are roaches. Now roaches have arrived, lings are out as well. Serral holds. Serral does hold. Behind this, we do see Astrea working towards Blink. The Forge, I believe, is non-existent, so very late upgrades for Astrea. This was very committed, very aggressive, and so far, it hasn't paid off. It hasn't paid off. Trading decently well against these lings, but Astrea, he needs more than this. He needs more damage. And this may just lead into an 8 gates 3 base all in. Adepts they commit, they're going to be shut down. They get 1 drone. Just the one. Serral defends. Robo behind this. Astrea is taking all of his gases. That is the first sign that he is taking up. Taking all of his gases, throwing down the Robo. And I'm curious where Astrea is headed here. Is the Robo just for the War Prism, just to reinforce? To go all in? No, this is the Forge. Okay. Forge is on the way, so Astrea is taking up. And Serral's in a better position. At this point, Serral, he is in a better position. He does have greater tech, greater upgrades, knocking down bases, establishing his economy. There is so much pressure on Astrea right now to get some kind of value. Otherwise, I mean, he's falling behind. He's trying to go for the expansion, but Serral's just buying time. Yeah, lings have arrived. Nice force fields. They do slow down the army. Not bad. The lings get caught out. Very nicely done. But the sentry falls. That means no more force fields. Astrea trading as best he can here. Shaving off lings, catching a couple of roaches. 14 lings in production. And Astrea has to back off. But this is a very nice trade. Like, Astrea, he did well for himself here. He traded well. But again, he's looking for more damage. Again, that base is getting so low. It's so tempting. So tempting to embrace. Meanwhile, Serral chasing him off of creep, leading out a lot of lings. Behind this, second Robo is on the way, the Bay as well. I would imagine this is for Disruptors. We'll see if it goes Colossi. I mean, if you're down in upgrades, Disruptors are a good way to make up for that, just because, you know, Disruptors don't care about your upgrades, but there we go. Colossus production has begun. It is going to be Colossi instead. Meanwhile, Serral, he is embracing Lingbane Roach Ravager, not Lingbane Hydra. As Baneling Nest has been thrown down, Serral is playing much more mid-game oriented. And Astrea, he has been trading well, but he's still looking for more damage. There we go, drop into the main. Serral's in position. Does spot it. Does spot it well ahead of time. The expansion's still very low. Oh, he wants it! He gets it! Oh my god, just barely. Barely does get it. Serral coming in for the punish though. Does want to punish the army, coming in for a surround. Ooh, gets one stalker, gets two. Does pick up two stalkers. Nice punish from Astrea. Comes in with a Colossus. Astrea, he's still in this. Playing the expansion, denying creep, he can push in once again. And he will force another cancel. So we'll try to. Base is very low. Queens, they responded to the Prism. It's a cancellation. Banelings do morph in. Astrea playing with fire. Pushing up the ramp. Spots the army. Has to get the hell out of here. Decent force fields. Whew. It will slow Serral down. But Vipers have arrived. The hive is done for Serral. And you can see that Astrea, he's taking it to High Templar. He has a Templar Archives on the way, but he needs more time. Does need more time. Vipers coming in. Astrea, does he notice? It might be too late. Oh, the Yoink comes in, gets one Colossus. Yeah, Astrea, he did pull away too late there. And Astrea's being chased down. Nice trades from Astrea with the Colossus swipes. The Colossus are getting very low. Once again, they're kiting the concave. Okay. Once again, Astrea, he outtrades at least the Lings. Zalse tries to slip in from behind. Bit of miscontrol from Astrea. They could have gone for the mineral line. He has to pull away. Building up Archons. High Templar have arrived. He can feedback. He can storm. Whew. Again, it feels like this for the past like 5 minutes. Astrea's been fighting on a knife's edge. Like it's been very intense. Very intense, Pappy. Here we go. So moving forward, pushing into the defensive line. He wants High Templar. He gets one. One High Templar goes down. No! He gets three. Three High Templar. Full massive pickups. All four High Templar. Ay. Yeah, Astrea, he wasn't too attentive there with his High Templar. That was brutal. So a strong fight for Serral. He resets the High Templar count. That is going to delay any kind of storm support. And this does give Serral more breathing room. Gets us around, shuts down all those zealots. Astrea moving in, but again, he should have four storms with his army. These are fresh High Templar as well. They need more time. Ay. So with that, Serral, he can now max out. He can now embrace more upgrades. Setting up for a concave as well, collapsing on the main army. Ooh, another High Templar goes down. Oh my god. Yeah, so he dives in, forces out the storms, decent storms. But now there's only one High Templar remaining with the main army. Ling Ramai cuts this into the natural, forces a recall. Ay. Recall into the natural, Ling's in towards the main. Meanwhile, the main army heads towards the fourth base of Astrea. Astrea getting pulled apart. He was playing so well up until that previous fight. When he lost his first round of High Templar, and now Astrea is out of position. The base is going to go down, and Lings are getting to the mineral line. And so he'll claim every single probe, 19 probes falling. Roche is back into the natural as well. Remember, recall's on cooldown. Again, it came down to that fight, and with that, Astrea just hasn't been able to recover. Hasn't been able to recover from it. His army is very bare bones now. There's not really much support. And so he's just remaxing, pushing in once again. Catching up a High Templar for a third time. No shot for the third time. Gets every single High Templar. Ay, ay, ay. There's one High Templar left with the main army, but it goes down as well. And that's going to be Serral just overwhelming the forces here of Astrea. I say that. Immortals, they come in to reinforce though. Astrea, he's barely holding on. Just barely. Whew. At the same time, 14 pros went down. Likewise, Serral also falling here in army supply. Oh my god, Jesus. As another 4 workers fall, 18 in total. Things are getting scrappy. Now, something that I did not realize, even though Serral has been out trading Astrea, that is true. Every single time he does reset the High Templar count. Look at Serral's drone count. That's the thing that's concerning me the most, that I just took notice of. That is the fact that Serral, he's down to 58 workers. Doesn't really have much of an economy here. He's on a less than 3 base economy, which means that these trades from Serral, he's having a hard time remaxing. It's taking longer to remax than it otherwise should. And Serral is making 44 more lings. So Astrea still has a chance. He's still in this game. It's still quite rough for him, but there's a chance. Especially with Serral just making mass ling. But he's just pulling Astrea apart. That's a kill, not a cancel. That's a kill in the expansion. 9 probe kills as well. You can see that Astrea, he's spread very thin. Just because of that low army supply. But thankfully for Astrea, Serral is still not droning, but he's maxed. Yeah, he has maxed out. And once again, this is what, the 3rd time that Astrea's getting caught out here? Jesus. Like, this location is just so wide open. This is the same location that time and time again Astrea's been taking some bad fights. So he has to back off. The goal base is denied. And Serral's in control. He's in control of this game at this point. He's now getting into his back into Viper production. He's maxed out. And Astrea will have one good fight in him. Like, the plus side for Astrea is that Serral has a very kind of mid-tier army. Again, it's Ling Main, Roach Ravager, Viper, right? It could be worse. There could be Hydra Lurker getting involved into Brood Lord Infestor, right? Like, the composition here is very mid-game focused. So even with Serral having the supply lead, Astrea can take a fight, but it's still going to be difficult. See if he can pull it off. Storm comes in. Nice Storm here on the Ling Bane. Going for the feedback as well. Prism goes down. Here comes Astrea. It's all or nothing. We can see Serral setting up the surround, and Astrea, he notices, he backs off. At the same time, we'll lose the mineral line. He's all in. At this point, Astrea, he's completely all in. Does catch the queens. Nice movement. Does bring down the queens. Rotating around. Once again, though, these locations are so open. And Serral, he pulls the trigger. He collapses in. Where are the storms? We get some decent storms, but there's the final storms here for Astrea. Yeah, Serral, he collapses on the Immortals. Immortals going to be going down. Yeah, and Astrea, he doesn't really have much left. Yeah, not much left of an army. The final Colossus will crumble. GG gets called, and Serral will take the series at 2-1. GG. Whew. GG, well played. Serral, he will claim the series, but a shout out to Astrea, because again, Astrea, he was able to remind us once again that he has some of the best late game PvZ in the world. I'm still a little bit sad about game 1. Like, game 1 was a bit of a lackluster game. Here in game 3, it was much more tense, much more back and forth. If you remember, Astrea did set himself behind because of his opener. If you remember, he went 4 gates. Aggression early on with a massive amount of adepts. Did not do enough damage. So the pressure was on Astrea to bounce back, and he did recover. It was difficult, but he was able to recover from that moment, able to bounce back. But then he took some really rough fights, with Serral collapsing on the army out in the middle of the map, out in the open, time and time again. Serral, he would reset the High Templar count and catch him out. That happened 3 times in a row. 3 times in a row. It was brutal seeing that, and Serral was able to recover. GG, well played. Serral does take the series, and Astrea will end up here with a scoreline of 2-1. 2 wins and 1 loss, but not a bad showing here against Serral. Very nicely done. I want to believe that Astrea, he was able to more than prove himself here in this group, and now we're going to be going on a short break. We're going to be going on a break. When we come back, we'll have our next series. Up next is going to be Serral versus SHIN. Let's go. Let us go. So from here, we're going to be going on a break. We'll see you guys after the break here for our next series. See you soon. See you soon. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. We're hoping you enjoyed that break. We have returned with our second series of the night. We just wrapped up with Serral versus Astrea, and up next is going to be Serral versus SHIN in a ZVZ. You can see some of the historical matches here ahead of us as well, and as is being stated in the chat, there is potential for a 3-way tie, depending on if SHIN can bring Serral down. That is a big if. I mean, SHIN, he's defeated Serral before. He's taken maps, he's taken series in the past. We'll see if we can do it again. You can even see here last time he was able to do so was a year ago. It's been quite some time. But if we do end up in a 3-way tie, then it comes down to series score, map score comes to head, and if it all still stays tied, which is quite possible, especially with the same like kind of map score differential, then there's going to be a best of 1 show match. There's going to be, I say show match, there's going to be a best of 1 tiebreaker if need be. So there is a chance that we get those best of 1 tiebreakers if SHIN brings Serral down. We'll see if that happens. We'll see if SHIN can cause that scenario to be a reality. We shall see. But yeah, I see some people kind of like theorizing like how do you break the tie with a best of 1? With a best of 1 additional series. But now though, we are jumping in. We are going to be jumping into our second series, and here we go in the bottom right hand corner. We have Serral for Basilisk. And in the top left, we have SHIN for Gaiman Gladiators. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will take the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat. As we embrace our ZVZ. Here we go. Now, as we get into this, Serral's weakest matchup is ZVZ. True. That is true. And we have seen we have seen him struggle against players like a Laser, like Clem, like Solar, of course. Infamously, Solar was the Serral Slayer for quite some time and did take many a map and many a series off of Serral. We'll see if SHIN can really kind of reprise that role here. We'll see if he can keep up with Serral. What I will say is that we have been casting a lot of SHIN's ZVZ recently. We recently casted him against Dark in the finals of KSL in that ZVZ best of 5, and SHIN is a very aggressive player. What I will say though is that Serral has definitely grown in his ZVZ. If you remember the era last year of like the era of Solar, where Solar was just non-stop bringing Serral down time and time again, a lot of that did come down to mind games. A lot of it was mind games. A lot of it was Solar able to either fake Serral into believing he was all in when he wasn't, or able to fake him out and all in when Serral didn't think he was. And we got to see Serral just, again, kind of mind gamed and faked out time and time again by Solar. But after that kind of era, after that period of time, Serral did kind of learn from that and did take a different approach. He took a very, very different approach here in ZVZ, was able to be the aggressor himself to kind of beat Solar to the chase, or just become that much more adept at scouting. So much more adept at scouting to be able to confirm and recognize what exactly Solar's up to. And then over time, over the course of like 4 months, Serral's ZVZ really did tighten up, and since then he hasn't really lost too many games to Solar. Not anymore. So do you think that was a good period of growth for Serral as a player, especially in this matchup? And that's why I'm a little bit concerned for SHIN, but we'll see. We shall see. Maybe Serral should start playing Protoss in ZVZ. Kappa. I mean, that's what Raynor does, right? Like, Raynor plays Protoss instead of ZVZ. Clem plays Protoss instead of TVP. True. Not uncommon for a pro player to avoid the mirror matchup. Not uncommon. And the reason for that is the mirror matchup is the most chaotic, the most dynamic. Historically has been the most difficult for most players out there. Not all. You know, there are exceptions to the rule, like Ryung, for example, who's like a TVT specialist, or Solar for ZVZ. For now, though, Hatch Gas Pool into our third bases. Bane Nests are on the way. So far, standard openers. So far, everything is standard. We're going to be embracing Ling Bane, and we'll see who comes out ahead in the Ling Bane war that we're about to witness. As Serral is making extra Lings and should soon move out. It's going to be on SHIN to defend. Morphing in 2 defensive Banelings. Likewise, Serral morphing in 2 Banelings across the map. Does move out. Oh my god, as Serral does take a Baneling to the face. Not the best start for Serral, and just like that, SHIN is dead. Just like that, SHIN, I should say, he does out-trade Serral. Serral has been droning behind this, though, so off of the back of the aggression, Serral has been droning. Decent Baneling connection there from Serral on the right-hand side, and SHIN is trying to catch up here, as he also likewise does drone. So we have our back and forth. have a back and forth. Serral does maintain a slight worker lead here. He's up 2 workers. As SHIN is trying to hunt down that Baneling. And now we can just settle down. We can settle down and settle in to a longer game state. Ooh, SHIN did invest into extra lings though. So he has a little bit more supply to work with if he so chose to. For now, though, just saturating. Saturating bases, working towards his lair. Both players are taking, both towards lair, towards Evo chambers as well. Despite the early game aggression, we do calm things down. And again, Serral does enjoy himself a slight advantage, as he's been mining more for longer. What's important to point out here is that both players are droning. We do have 5 safety roaches on the way for Serral. SHIN is doing something very similar as well. Now we can settle in. As both players are building up. Extra gas is being taken. Not gonna lie, it's tripping me out a little bit that the clean feed, they haven't switched the players on the UI, so it's it's a little bit trippy, but we'll be okay. We'll be okay. What I mean by that, usually you do rotate the players on your UI to kind of match where they are on the map. So Serral below and SHIN above. But it's fine. It's fine, Papi, it's fine. As for now, both players are focusing on their roach production. Both players getting up to 3-base saturation. Once again, Serral does drone up slightly faster into that 3-base economy. Ooh, and after the scout, SHIN does go for the Spire. Bold move. So I do appreciate that SHIN is trying to go into mutas, but the reality is that Serral's setting up for some Dropper Lords. We have a Dropper Lord morphing in to harass into the main base. As the Dropper Lord is now moving out. And we'll see if SHIN can keep up. Overs here towards the main. And the Dropper Lord has multiple purposes here to harass, yes, but also to scout. To scout the main base and confirm exactly what SHIN is up to. And speaking of scouting, the Overseer does go for a full scout, checks the third, checks the natural, checks the main, and Serral knows. Serral, he has scouted the Spire, he is fully aware of what's going on, and immediately a Hydroden. Hydroden is on the way, and we are building up towards a later game state. Serral dropping on up. Going for the workers, gets 1 drone. Shouldn't get much more than that, but he should be keeping SHIN pinned. Keeping him pinned in his main bases. So now Serral is going to be maintaining himself. Knocking down those rocks. SHIN is, I mean. Mutas are on the way. They should be able to gain map control at least and hunt down those overlords. Meanwhile, Serral, he's refining his army, getting to Roach Hydra instead. It's going to be Roach Hydra against Roach Muta. A couple of Ravagers morphing in. Upgrades are relatively close. Neck and neck. And SHIN is on a timer. Over time, Roach Hydra turns into Roach Lurker, and Serral can outscale SHIN. Can outscale him. So the onus is going to be on SHIN to break through, building up his Roach Ravager army. Now, Roach Ravager can outtrade Roach Hydra. Roach Hydra just is a little bit more of a clunky army. So there's a window here for SHIN as he does push in. It dives on the army, Serral a little bit late to respond. Leaving out a lot of roaches. Files as well, they do catch an overlord. Even grazing the army. Serral stutter stepping forward. He does have the greater army here. He can force back SHIN. Once again, the piles, they do force a micro out of Serral. Do force him back, but the stutter stepping is solid here, and it looks like Serral, he should break through. Forcing SHIN back. SHIN buying time with those biles. At the same time, Dropper Lord gets dealt with as 1 powered Roach in position. SHIN can focus on his push. Ooh, and yeah, there's just not enough here to protect those Ravagers. Ravagers are denied. Massive move here from Serral. And SHIN is being forced all the way back. Ooh. Leading out Mutas. And SHIN is reinforced as they're just tied up back at home due to the borrowed roaches. Yeah, Tunneling Claw roaches in the mineral lines, and Serral is going for the kill, going straight for the third, the fourth even. While they buy some time, at the same time, roaches they unborrow in the natural. Queen goes down. And Serral, he's just overwhelming the army here of SHIN just by pure numbers. Oh, the Biles! Oh, they do connect. Biles connect. SHIN is buying time. Forcing back the army, but he needs reinforcements. Where are the roaches? Where are the roaches back? Just now rotating over. Once again, we have unborrowed roaches in the third. They're tying up so much supply. And that was the moment for Serral, but he wasn't quite able to break through. He came close, though. He came very close. In the end, SHIN holds. SHIN holds, and now Serral's taking. Serral, he's taking up towards a Hive Tech. Infestation bits on the way. That should be for a Hive. That should be for Lurkers. We'll see if Serral can get to that Lurker Tech. Until then, SHIN does have an opportunity. Pushing into a concave, though. This is not going to be it. Does push into the concave. Serral, he takes a better trade, takes a better fight. Ay. At the same time, roaches, they counterattack across the map. And SHIN's being pulled apart. He's out of position. Drones are going down. And SHIN just cannot maintain these losses. Not like this. Now falling behind in the economy. Roaches in every mineral line. Is there detection? There is not. And just can be so awkward or so frustrating to defend against these Tunneling Claw roaches. As you can imagine, especially with that detection. Serral is looking to push in. They will go morphing in his own Ravagers as well. Left the Greater Army. Starts to respect the ramp though. Serral does pull away. There's another unborrow, more drones falling. SHIN is all in. At this point, SHIN is completely all in. Is being picked apart by those Tunneling Claw roaches. Nice dive here on the Hydras. Ooh, Biles they graze the army. Better trades here from SHIN, picking up Hydras and Ravagers. Oh, the Biles long god! Oh my god, does avoid them just barely. Barely does avoid the Biles. SHIN trying to take the fight, but again, Serral, he's remaxing up the defender's advantage. I mean, this is a better fight for SHIN. But reinforcements are on the way. Does Serral have enough? SHIN, he's out of money. He's out of money. He's out of resources. This is all you get for SHIN. We'll take down the expansion, but he needs more than that. Could be reinforcing. He's catching out reinforcements from Serral. Serral is trickling in. Coming in for this round. The boys are being pulled. Can Serral hold? It's going to be close. It's going to be very close here, and he barely is holding. It's going to cost Serral a lot of workers. Does cost him a base, but it's worth it. It's worth it if Serral he holds. And now he can shut down this army. It was close, but GG gets called, and Serral will take game one. GG. GG, well played. Again, the harass was just far too much to deal with when it came to either the Drop Lord harass or even the just Tunneling Claw roaches in the natural in the third base time and time again. What was brutal about the Tunneling Claw roaches is that SHIN, he had to invest into more supply to defend than Serral was attacking. Because of that, his main army was smaller than Serral's was, of course, so he was overwhelmed and just picked apart over time. GG. GG, well played. Very nice control there out of Serral when it came to those roaches. And SHIN definitely had some opportunities for himself, but wasn't quite able to capitalize on them. In the end, GG. GG, well played. Serral does take the first game, and now we're getting into game number 2 on Frostline. Let's go. Let us go. So we are going to be settling in. And we'll see where Serral can take us. We'll see if SHIN can force the ace match. Now, personally, as always, I would love to see an ace match. I would love to see a game 3 between these players, but we'll see if we can pull this off. See if SHIN can pull this off. As a reminder as well, SHIN will have 2 matches here tonight. His first series here against Serral, and he'll have another series against Cure thereafter. Here we go. When it comes to the vetoes, nothing too out of the norm here. SHIN, he vetoed all the larger maps, so he vetoed King's Cove, Abyssal, and Amygdala. Likewise, Serral did veto some of the more unorthodox maps in El Dorado, Neon Violet Square, and Ultra Love. These are becoming like the more standard vetoes. That's very quickly, very quickly. And here we go, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have Serral for Basilisk. And in the top right-hand corner, we have SHIN for Gaming Gladiators. Let us go. The all-in almost works. The all-in did almost work. Again, just because Serral's reinforcements were coming in just like a batch at a time, so SHIN was able to take better trades. So important that Serral, he bought time for the surround, he pulled the boys as well. It was an intense couple of moments there in that last game. Very intense. But now we're settling into Frostline. Frostline, if there was a map to embrace Mutazone, I feel like this would be one of them. Frostline is a much larger map, but the bases are very exposed. The natural, the third, the fourth base, they're very spread out and can be very difficult to actually maintain those bases. So we'll see how our players do approach this. We shall see. Yeah, more games, baby, more games. Give us all the games. So now we are going to be settling in. So far, just Hatch Gas Pool into a third. Oh, sorry, Hatch Gas Pool into a standard game so far. Either player could try to wall off. I don't think this is a good map for walling off, though. The entrance towards the natural is very large. It's very wide. So just trying to play two base here does feel less than ideal on Frostline. So we should be seeing third bases. That should be. What if the Proto Summon of Rainer switches to Terran? Because they know Rainer's gonna switch as well. Oh, the Mayan games, crazy. We'll get there eventually. See Braz in the chat. Good morning, lights. I get technically it's morning. I guess it's midnight here in Australia. It is midnight. Yeah. Spent the day working on VODs all day, or most of the day, I should say. Then we had a nap. Was just trying to plan out the rest of the month when it comes to our broadcasts as well. A bit of a teaser for things to come. Later on this week, we'll be featuring a show match with MC, which is going to be amazing, by the way. I can't remember the last time we've actually seen MC compete. I mean, I remember MC played in a show match. I think he played in the Stormgate show match, right? Like, I want to say he played in one of the other RTS events, like earlier this year. So really cool to see MC willing to play StarCraft again, even for a moment. That'll be later on in the week. For now, though, it is going to be a Roach Warren for SHIN. Going to earlier Roaches, both players getting their third bases. And we're calming things down. Oh. As we do see Serral baiting out of Baneling already. Nicely done here by Serral. Baits out of Baneling. Slightly more efficient start. Likewise, Serral, he does have a slightly higher drone count as well. So similarly to the previous game, we'll have the slightly better economy coming into the mid game. Imagine a TVT turns into a PvP. That could happen. That could happen. Like, especially as oh god, as Serral is going for an all-in. So there's a couple of different things happening here. Serral is going for a 2-base all-in. He's going for a hatch-base all-in. No lair. No lair for Serral. No upgrades either. Meanwhile, SHIN is investing in other things. SHIN is droning. Ooh, Ooh, this series might end here now. Shin, he's droning up, he's taking into +1 range, taking into a lair, taking into roach speed, taking extra gases. Shin is setting up for the mid game, and Serral's going all in. So he's sending everything across the map here and now. Either Serral kills Shin or he dies trying, and again, Shin has been so greedy. No. He's been quite greedy here. Lings are coming in to reinforce. Shin, he now realizes what's going on. He's making as many roaches as possible. And can Shin survive this? Serral, he does start to drone behind this. He does lose confidence in his all-in. Roaches, they move forward. So far, good concave here by Shin. More Banelings waddling in, but the Queens, they move forward. So far, Shin doing well. He's buying time. Serral drones. Serral, he has no faith. He has no faith in the all-in. He's droning up. He's taking up into a lair. Banelings, they crash into the army. Oh my god, Banelings try to. And decent connections. They connect with roaches. More reinforcements popping out. And Shin, is he barely holding on? It's close. Oh, it's so close. He's barely holding. And Shin, he will survive. He will survive this. Serral has to back off. Again, back at home. Losing queens, losing drones as we speak. Oh, there's no kill count on the left-hand side, unfortunately. But Shin, looking good now. I mean, hey, he's now going to have a lead when it comes to roach speed, +1 range, extra gases. He can now drone. And he's not. I like this. I actually like this here from Shin. So Shin, he survives the all-in, and now he's getting ready for his own counterattack. Shin could drone, but he also knows that Serral's droning right now. Serral, he's droning up as hard as he can because Serral knows he's behind, and because Serral is droning, the pendulum swings from one player to the other. You know, that means that suddenly Shin is up in army supply, and Shin is going for the counter all-in while Serral's been droning. Serral back at home, a wall of spines. You can see in the production tab, 3 spine crawlers on the way. Serral knows that he needs whatever he can here to survive this. Let's go. Let's go as Shin, he does push forward into a concave. +1 range is done. Slowly pushing forward, breaking through the front line. Getting into the roaches. Spine crawlers need a couple more seconds to finish up. Serral should be able to hold on though. Yeah, with these reinforcements, Serral, he is holding. Hold position micro with the drones. And Shin has to back off. Shin, he has to, oh god. He's going to fight a little bit longer here. Does commit in, but yeah, he's going to bleed out a lot of roaches in the process. Shin has to retreat. Serral holds. Serral now takes the lead, I should say, as he's catching up in upgrades. But what I do like here out of Shin, as Shin, he had extra gas. What does he do with the gas? Mutas. Spire is almost done. I love this. Spire is almost done for Shin. So even though Shin, now he is in a low drone count or a lower economic game state, with these mutas he should gain map control and then Shin can recover. Ideally. Ideally, Shin recovers from here with those mutas. Overseer scattered to the main. Doesn't see too much. Spire is at the third, not in the main or the natural. Overseer gets brought down. No scouts. At 10 mutas on the way. And Serral has no idea. Shin taking into +1 melee. This tells us that Shin, he isn't just going muta for map control, he's going mass muta. He plans to go mass muta at this point. +1 air attack is on the way. +1 melee is on the way. 4th base as well for extra gases. Serral, he responds with a hydrogen. I do like this. Even though Serral hasn't seen the mutas up until now, he's going for the hydrogen just in case. He knows that something could be wrong, something could be amiss. Now he confirms. It's a nice foresight there from Serral. As mutas have arrived. Serral being forced back. No hydras yet, but he has queens. The queens are ready. Mutas are diving the queens. There's 1 transfuse. There's 2. Just the 2 as 1 queen falls. Spores are about to finish. He could have tried to go for the dive a little bit sooner. Does get the spore, but will bleed out 2 mutas in the process. So I'm not sure. He wants the queen. He wants it. He gets it. Queen goes down. Ooh. The spore is brutal though. There's no transfuse, so the spore is going to hold its own. And Shin having some rough engagements here. Does bleed out some mutas. Has to respect the army. Falling back. Does fall back. Shin joining up to 83. Has a massive economy. The Hydra count is getting higher and higher. Again, it's going to be on Shin to try to support this army with either Banelings or something else. So the Hydra cannon is getting a bit out of hand. The army does threaten to move out. Shin's being kept busy. Serral, he's maxed. And he will soon pull the trigger. Lings, they do get into the main though. Oh my god. Lings, they flood into the main base. Bailings, they head towards the third as well. Serral being pulled apart. Bailings, they crash in. Massive connections. 22 drones go down. And Shin has to very quickly remax behind this, because Serral is soon going to be forced all in. Shin does catch some of the Hydras. Yeah, Hydras are going down and Serral is all in. He's sending everything across the map. It's all or nothing. As Shin turns back around, he's racing back home. Is this the right call though? Could he have committed to the base trade? Potentially. It says Shin is going to try and survive, try and defend. Guess hold on to those Bailings. Bailings, no! Don't want to waste them on the Roaches. Bailings falling back, trying to hold on to them. Again, that's a little Hydras. Bailings, they roll in. Nice movement here by Serral. Oh my god, he shuts down the Bailings. They do not connect. Shin supply blocked. He has to back off. Yeah, it looks like Serral may have just done it here. Ideally, you need to save those Bailings for the mutants. Sorry, for the Hydras of all things. But very nice movement out of Serral. Does catch the Bailing nest. No more Bailings. Shin trying to come in from behind. Once again, collapsing on those Hydras. And can he break through? Oh god, there are just so many Hydras though. I mean, most of them will go down. It's a close fight, but it looks like Shin will clean up every single Hydra just barely. It was a rough trade, at the same time losing every single worker. Shin being forced further back into the main. Oh, that's going to be a cancel here on the Spire. Backup Spire on the way. Shin losing 46 workers. Thankfully, he had 83 to begin with. So Shin still has a worker lead. Spine Call is at the reposition. Losing more drones. Shin still maintains a better economy. Ooh. Serral reinforcement with pure Hydra. Does reinforce. Army gets spotted. Shin has to respond. He does catch some reinforcements. Nicely done. Gets a Hydra. Does pick off 2 Hydras, but the army gets across the map. Shin out of position. He does try to commit. And in a head-on fight, I have to favor Serral's army. I do have to favor him. Baneliness is on the way. With Ling Bane, Shin can shut down these Hydras, but he does need the Banelings. Spawning pool going to be going down. Shin likewise down in army supply. Down in workers as well, losing 30 drones. Oh my god. That economic advantage that he once had is not there anymore. Not anymore. Baneliness is almost done. And Shin does have a bank. He needs as many Banelings as possible. And there they are. Banelings are morphing in. Shin looking a little bit exasperated. I mean, it's been close. It's been very close, but Serral's just outscaling him at this point. Serral just has a better economy. Has so many Hydras. Shin just now realizing he had no spawning pool. Couldn't make any Lings. And now here comes the army. Ling Bane, they try to rush on in. They get some decent connections, but the spread is too good. Yeah, the spread is too good. Oh, better Bailing connections towards the end. Uh-oh. Shin, he cleans us up. Cleans up the army. Let's go. Serral, he started splitting, then he stopped. He stopped splitting, but Ling's there for a counterattack. Shin, he's still in this. But he's down to 10 workers. Like the economy's not looking good here for Shin. So Serral can remax, Shin less so. Ay, ay, ay. As Lings, they come in from behind once again, going for another run by. Hydra's back into the event. GG gets called. There's nothing left there. And Serral will take the 2-0. GG. Whew. GG. Well played. A very, very intense series here. I mean, again, SHIN definitely had chances both in Game 1 and in Game 2. In both Game 1 and Game 2, SHIN definitely had some opportunities here against Serral, especially here in Game 2. It was very scrappy towards the end, but alas, Serral does take it. Game 2 was just so chaotic because it was so back and forth when it comes to the all-ins. First, Serral went for the all-in, then SHIN, then Serral, then SHIN. Like, it was just very back and forth, and again, just a very close match there. Despite the 2-0, hope SHIN isn't feeling too disappointed because he came close. Came very close to bringing down Serral. GG. GG, well played. With that, Serral does take the 2-0, and now we're getting ready for the final series of the night. We're getting ready for that final best of 3. Up next, after the break, is going to be SHIN versus Cure. Let's go. Up next is going to be SHIN versus Cure. So we're going to be going on that break. When we come back, we'll have that final series of the night. See you soon. See you soon as we round up, or round off, Group A. See you soon. welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to the Master Coliseum number 8. Welcome back to the group stage here. We're still in Group A. We're here at the final match, the final hurdle of Group A. It's been an intense weekend already with these 4 amazing players, and as is being stated in the chat, I believe the top 2 players are confirmed. Serral and Astrea will be making it out of the group, but there is still some money on the line here for our 2 remaining players, for SHIN and Kira. Unfortunately, they won't be able to make it out of the group. Unfortunately, the math won't quite work out in their favor, but regardless, we have a banger of a ZVT ahead of us. Let's go, Pappy, let's go. We have our ZVT vetoes are done, and we have a map order as well. Game 1 is going to be on Ley Lines, Game 2 Ultra Love, Game 3 on Frostline. Once again, some of the more larger maps have been vetoed. In general, the vetoes have been quite similar amongst all these matchups. Just getting rid of Neo Violet Square, getting rid of King's Cove, El Dorado, Whispers of Gold as well. Having getting rid of them, and now we're getting into the final series. Let's go. Let us go. And spawning in the bottom right corner, we have SHIN for Gaming Gladiators. And in the top right, we have Cure for Team Liquid. And if you're in the chat, you know what time it is. It is Gamba time. Predictions are open. Place your bets on who you think will claim the series. Best of luck. Best of luck in the chat as we're settling in. Here we go. So again, unfortunately, in this group, this series holds less weight, but a banger of a series nonetheless. We're still here for it. We're ready for it. Let's go. I see Chase in the chat. ¿Qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? Chase. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing good in the hood. As she is going hatch gas pool, I would imagine standard opener out of both of our players. Likewise, Kira back at home as well. No crazy early Raxes or anything like that. No crazy kind of proxy play either. We're calming things down. I'm going to be calming things down here. As we settle in. We also saw the history, the match history between these 2 players in the lead up to this series, and it has been going in favor of SHIN. Historically, SHIN has taken down Kira, but it isn't a one-sided kind of affair between the 2 of them. We do see Kira often taking maps and has taken series as well. When I say in favor of SHIN, I'm saying more like 60-40 sort of thing, in slight favor of the Zerg player. But we'll see. We'll see how our 2 players do approach this. So now we do have that Rax expand out of Cure, going for the initial Reaper. Likewise, back at home, hatch gas pool out of SHIN. We're settling in. Now, when it comes to this matchup, SHIN, he does often play with Roaches. True, he does often play Roach, does often play more aggressive as well. We'll keep an eye on the tech of choice for SHIN as the game progresses to see if he does end up embracing Roach play or Ling Bane. Keep an eye on SHIN. See Axo Gaming in the chat. Whoa, Astrea? Yeah. If you missed out on Astrea's matches, I do recommend watching the VODs of yesterday's matches and today's as well. Astrea was playing very well today, or this weekend in general. Playing very well. As the Reaper does dip in. We'll threaten the Lings. But so far so good. SHIN does maintain himself. He does maintain, does hold on, does preserve his workers. Here he does calm things down. His 3rd base was delayed. There's at least that going Kira's way. Did delay the 3rd. And behind this is going for his 3rd TC into Starport. So economic build here by Kira. I mean, we saw a lot of this against this series, or in this series against Serral. Often 3cc Banshee or 3cc Liberator, one or the other, typically from the side of Kira. And does often embrace aggression in the mid game. That's usually what Kira plays for. The mid game, if not the mid to late game. Not really one to go for 8 Raxes, or 2 base all-ins, or 3 base all-ins. Not really Kira's MO. But now just embracing Hellion production. We'll soon move out to gain map control. Soon move out. Likewise, as the add-on assault, Banshee production has begun. So Hellion Banshee here from Cure, designed to chip away at the economy, designed to chip away at the creep, more importantly as well. Maintain control of ley lines. And follow that up with the eventual buy move out. With Marines, with Stim, with tanks. So we are just building up. Likewise, Cure is being active. Does rotate between the bases. So far, SHIN is maintaining himself. Cure will soon be active. Still just, again, vying for map control. Nothing too crazy. SHIN has been running this entire time, just saturating his bases. It's going to be a bit of a later layer timing from SHIN at around 5 minutes. Heading into that Bane nest as well. Just settling into his Ling Bane. I mean, now we have our tech of choice. If you remember earlier, I was saying that we were going to be keeping our eye out for any kind of Roach play, but there is no Roach one. Going to be the Bane nest instead. So Ling Bane here out of SHIN. Let's go. Is going to be embracing Ling Bane. Likewise, Cure building up towards his additional Raxes. Stim is on the way. Double E-Bays, 1-1. As I mentioned before, again, again, Cure, he's a lot more like mid-game oriented. Isn't often too aggressive early on. He does move out with his Banshees. 2 Banshees, they can one-shot drones. They're making their way towards the 3rd, but SHIN is in position. He's got 5 Queens. The Queens are ready. They zone away the Banshees. So far, so good. They rotate in towards the main. Likewise, SHIN also ready for them. Banshees, they get 3 drone kills. Nice pickoffs. 3 workers go down. Banshees, they back off. Likewise, SHIN securing his 4th. And we had no major Hellion dive out of Cure. Just keeping them back at home instead. Does keep them back home. Meanwhile, SHIN taking up even further, going Ling Bane into Hydra. Kind of your stock standard composition nowadays. Ling Bane, Hydra into Lurker tech eventually from the side of SHIN. Just taking up, spreading his creep. Again, one of the big features of ley lines is how defendable your corner of the map is. I was going to say like your 3, 4, 5 base setup, but really it's just your entire corner of the map is just very defendable. We'll see if Cure can break through. We've hit that timing. 7 minutes. We have that 7-minute move out. We have Marines. We have a Hellion, soon to be Hellbats. The tank has arrived. SHIN trying to catch his army on siege. Ooh, isn't quite able to. Tank does siege up in time. Reinforcing tank has arrived. And Cure is pushing in. He is pushing forward. The armory is about to finish as well, so the Hellion's about to morph into Hellbats. Ling Bane does threaten a dive, but nice tank shot. Tank shot goes off. SHIN has to respect it. He has to back off. Does have to back off. Cure moving in. Once again, threatening a stim. SHIN can't quite commit. I mean, Cure, he isn't really threatening too much, but he's slowly gaining ground, denying creep. At the same time, SHIN goes for a link counterattack, but last Cure is ready back at home. Banshees, they hit the southern expansion. The Queens are ready for this, though. A good response here by SHIN. He's ready with the Queens. Does zone away. And SHIN is holding. SHIN is holding. Over time, is building up a greater Ling Bane Hydra army. And it's just all about being as patient as possible, waiting for Cure to expose himself, to move a little bit too far forward, and then SHIN can collapse in. Speaking of, SHIN instead getting ready for another run by. Cure going for a split push. Bailey's a crash in, big connections. Likewise, SHIN, he attempts to catch reinforcements, but SHIN gets caught out instead. And Cure is going for that southern expansion, does get a queen. Queen goes down, SHIN trying to respond. Not quite ready for this. He's trying to split up his army. What does he go for? Attempting to set up a surround. I mean, this Northern Force for Cure is looking a little bit lackluster. And there we go. SHIN, he breaks out. Collapses on the tanks. He will clean this up. Shuts down all the tanks and the Hellbats. And now SHIN can focus on southern defense instead. Marines moving in. Nice target firing on the Bailey as well. Oh my god, two of them do connect. And SHIN, instead of coming back home to defend, he's going for his own counterattack. He's going for the mineral line. Diving into the third. SCVs do go down. No reaction there out of Cure. Delayed reaction. Ooh, Bailey's a crash into the reinforcements as well. Back across the map, trading a base for a base. Yeah, hatchery does go down. And the Marines, they can break through this. But SHIN isn't done. He's going to keep pushing. And he will preserve his army back at home. Busts into the mineral line as well. Getting into the natural, pushing in towards the main, and shit, yeah, Curie has nothing at home. GG gets called, he has nothing back at home, and SHIN will take game number 1. Whew. GG. GG, well played. SHIN just, again, really patient play. More than anything, just really patient play out of SHIN. Despite the fact that Cure was knocking down that front door, SHIN, he was more than happy to just calm things down, you know, go for some Ling run-bys here and there, just play it safe, wait to build up an army, and Cure made a choice. What did Cure do? Instead of reinforcing that first push, he went for a split push. Remember, he sent that second army down towards the south instead to go for a split push instead of reinforcing towards the north. Once SHIN realized what was going on, he collapsed on it. He collapsed on that northern army, cleaned it up, and then just committed to a massive counterattack instead. And last Cure, he had nothing at home. He had nothing at home to defend, or bare minimum at home to defend. And with that, he was overwhelmed. GG, well played. SHIN takes a lead, and now we're getting ready for game number 2. Yeah, getting ready for that second game. And we'll see if Cure can recover as we're going to be loading into Ultra Love. Oh. Speaking of, here we go. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have SHIN for Gaming Gladiators. And in the top right, we have Cure for Team Liquid. God, their intros are so fast. Like I wanna embrace it, you know. I wanna indulge in it. It's just not happening. Aye. With that though, we are going to be settling in. And we'll see how Cure will adjust. I mean, in general, what we saw out of game 1... Oh my god, pull first. Let's go. Pull first opener here out of SHIN. With this, he can move out across the map with his Lings and try and delay the expansion of Cure. And we'll see if he can pull this off, as SHIN is going to be initially the aggressor. Now, what I was about to say is that Cure, what we just saw in game 1 is usually what we see out of Cure is standard opener, like 3cc Banshee into a 7-minute push, into a 7-minute move outs, in towards that mid-game kind of scenario. That is kind of what we expect out of Cure. I'm hoping he can kind of break that mold and show us something different, but the pressure is on Cure. Again, SHIN, he's a much more diverse player. He's a much more versatile player, I should say. Willing to be aggressive, willing to play a little bit more standard at times, as we can see here, going for the pull first. Lings are on the way. Only going to be 2 Lings. Interesting. So only 2 Lings out of SHIN. What does this tell us? This tells us safe opener more so than an aggressive one. Just going to be a safe opener out of SHIN. This means that if Cure had gone for an all-in, then SHIN would have access to earlier queens and earlier Lings if need be. Instead, he's only going to be harassing with 2 Lings. So the chances of SHIN actually delaying the CC are now suddenly far lower. The intros are so fast we can immediately get into the action of drones being made. True, the intense droning, papi. Let's go. This is why sometimes Yaku struggles casting WTL at Massive Coliseum, because like this is like the anti-Yaku opener, or the anti-Yaku like intro, I should say, where Yaku, he spends like a good 2-3 minutes like per player like introducing them into the game, and here we've got like 10 seconds, and even then like Yaku, if you watch him, he's like like he very quickly tries to just squeeze his intro in as quickly as possible. They don't give him time. Oh no, they're animals, papi. They're animals. How will people know which corner of the map they're spawning into? How will they know? How will they know who they are? Crazy. Oh no. Well, now though, we are going to be settling into our second game so far. Standard openers here. Once again, third TC into Starport by Cure, so the same opener he went for in the previous game. Likewise, when it came to the other game, even though Shin did go for a pull first build, he did not get across the map. Because Cure SCV scouted, he was able to recognize what was going on, and he did keep his Reaper back at home just in case. So in the end, nothing really amounted from the initial earlier spawning pool. And really it just means that Shin will have much later link speed, as link speed is halfway done. From here, we can calm things down, embrace the longer game state. Welcome one and all to Ultra Love. Ultra Love is similar to Ley Lines in the sense that the bases are quite secure. I would say that the bases are a little bit more defendable on Ley Lines. Here on Ultra Love, they're a little bit more spread out instead. I'm referring to the 3rd, 4th, and 5th base. They're secure in their own way, but they are further apart here than the bases on Ley Lines. So we'll see if Shin can maintain himself. We'll see if he can defend. We'll see if he can keep up with Cure. As now Shin is being active, he gets a surround. Oh, it does get a surround, shuts down one of the Hellions. Very nice pickup. That should not have happened. One Hellion goes down. That will slow down or even kind of deter the main harassing force of Cure. We'll slow him down. Behind this, throwing down extra Raxes. Getting into his soon-to-be 5-rack setup on 3 bases. He's getting there. Getting up to 3 for the time being. Stim is on the way. Banshees are being active. And again, Cure is looking for a way in. Poking, prodding whenever he can. So far, unable to completely find a way in. Shin, he's holding his own, taking more bases, getting into 1-1 upgrades, and once again embracing Ling Bane. I say that, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think we've seen a Baneliness out of Shin yet, so my apologies. Shin is going for a different build, so my apologies. Shin, he actually went double Evo Chamber before Lair, so the Lair is heavily delayed, so is the Baneliness. This is very greedy play here by Shin. Basically what's happening here is that he is prioritizing upgrades more so than the safetiness that you get from Overseer Scouts and from Banelings and Baneling Speed. So delayed Banelings, delayed Baneling Speed, delayed Overseer Scouts in favor of 1-1 upgrades. It is a risky maneuver, but I feel like against Cure specifically, this is a little bit more viable, just because Cure is not really aggressive early on. Oh, the Hellions, though! The Hellions almost get surrounded. One Hellion does fall. Once again, nice catch by Shin. Whew, that could have been so much worse, though. Shin could have caught every single Hellion. Alas, only gets 1, 2 in total now. Behind this, Shin massing up more Lings. Cure getting ready for his own move out. Shin back at him, getting ready for the push. Spots the main army. Shin still being active. Turning back around. Now remember, Baneling Speed is delayed this game, so no Baneling Speed yet. Likewise, though, Cure has to respect the creep. Lings they attempt to run by. Cure is ready back at home this time. Is ready, clearing up a lot of tumors. Most of the tumors go down. Cure, he maintains himself here on top of the ramp. As 1-1 is already done here for the Zerg player, already working towards 2-2. Hellbat's morphing in. I mean, again, there are just so many choke points, so many points of elevation here on Ultra Love. You're making use of them. Does push towards the south. Lings, they keep up. Trading on Marines. That's 8 Marines going down. Shinny collapses on the Bio Army. This one tank looking very exposed. Sure, there's a couple of Hellbats, but Shin can break that. As Kira is reinforcing. Unlike the previous game, he's not going for a split push. He's going to be reinforcing the main push, the main army, I should say. And he's committing that much harder. That's it on. Rock's get knocked down. And this time it's going to be a much tougher defense here for Shin. And much more difficult defense. Has to pull back. Shin once again setting up a counterattack. Kira just cutting Shin off from that solid expansion. Shin making his way towards that mineral line. And tank gets around to Banelings. They bust in. Oh, they annihilate the economy. 17 SCVs go down. At the same time, plus two is going to be denied. And massive pickoffs. 2-2 is denied. And with that, Kira, he will take the better upgrade advantage, the upgrade lead. Catches a couple of transferring workers. Another base is going to be going down. And Kiri's getting a lot of ground here. Shin falling behind here in the supply. And this may just be too much. This might just be too much at this point. I mean, again, Kira has a massive army. And he's just going in for the kill. Behind this, he was A-Raxing. 2-2 about to finish up. Baneling that's under fire. And again, once Kira wedged himself in between the 4th and the 5th, like Shin just couldn't engage. Just could not engage. Not anymore. And this is going to be the final attempt to break out for Shin. He does commit, but he has arguably too many Banelings. We'll try to crash in and waste a lot of Banelings on the tanks. Oh, better connections towards the end, but Shin, he will lose everything. He'll lose all the Ling Bane, most of the Hydras as well. And GG gets called. The GG gets called. Kira he overwhelms, and Kira ties up the series 1-1. We are going to the ace match. GG. GG, well played. Again, just really solid play here out of Kira. This time didn't try to be fancy, didn't try to go for these split pushes or anything like that. Just one frontal assault instead. Did wedge himself in between the bases, and again, Shin just couldn't engage. Like, a lot of it comes down to the map as well. This map is a lot less wide open. As we were pointing out, there are just a lot of choke points, a lot of points of elevation, a lot of ramps as well. I feel like Ultra Love is known for just pure, like, all the defender's advantages, or just all the ramps, all the choke points. Very much so. And with that, Kira takes it. Kira does take game number 2, and now we're getting into the ace match. Let's go. We're getting into Frostline. Now, Frostline is almost like the exact opposite of Ultra Love. Where Ultra Love, there's all these choke points, all these ramps, there are all these just really solid places where a Terran player can take these better engagements. On Frostline, it's very open. It's a lot more open here, a lot more spread out as opposed to Ultra Love. There are certain lanes that you can kind of work with, true. There are certain lanes on Frostline which can make it difficult to surround an army, but not impossible. Not impossible. So we'll see how Kira adjusts. Likewise, we'll see how Shin adjusts as well. So getting into game number 3 and spawning in the top right-hand corner of Frostline, we have the South Korean Zerg, Shin, the Gaming Gladiators. In the bottom left, we have, for Team Liquid, Kure. Let's go. We have our ace match here. It all ends here. It all ends on Frostline. Let's go. We go. All ends on Frostline. And if Kira did want to go for the same build and the same style, I don't think it's going to be as effective on Frostline, but we'll keep our eyes on Kira to see what kind of game he does try to embrace. We'll see. For now, this time hatch gas pool by Shin. No crazy early pool timing or anything like that this time. Something more standard. Likewise, I should also emphasize one of the big advantages that was meant to come with Shin's build was faster 2-2. And if you remember, 2-2 was denied last game because of the move out from Cure. So I would imagine this time Shin is going to go for something more standard, like an earlier lair, an earlier Baneling nest. He attempted to cut some corners last game. He got punished for it. So we'll probably calm down here. We'll see. So we do calm things down. Back at home, Cure going for his Rax Expand into Factory. Standard opener so far. Reaper gets across the map. We have the SCV blocking the triangular third of SHIN, and SHIN's third base is going to be delayed. Not bad. Delayed third hatchery. Oh. As SHIN is going to be contained a little bit longer. Is going to be contained. Cure behind this going for a third CC before starports. Economic follow here by Cure, who's done the same opener every single game so far in this series. Is what he does best. That's what he does best. Reaper coming in from behind. SHIN having a harder time keeping up. We'll back off. Does back off behind this. That's an early Roach Warren. Let's go. And this is what we've been waiting for. Okay, so early Roach Warren here by SHIN, which means he's going to be committing to an early Roach move out. Now, on a map like Frostline, because it's so large, the chances of this being scattered is going to be a little bit higher. But what I will say, based on how this series has been playing out, Cure hasn't actually been too aggressive and too assertive with his Hellions. So the chances of this being scattered and being seen is actually going to be a little bit lower here. Just based on the previous scouting patterns of Cure. We'll see. We'll see how active Cure is going to be, because he's been very defensive, very passive in the early game, especially in game 1 and game 2. Now you can see him rotating over towards the right hand side. We'll get eyes on the third base timing. Remember, the third base was delayed because of the initial Reaper harass. Let's see how it does come from the Banshee play. So 3cc Banshee from Cure. SHIN is aware. Roaches are amassing. Now, this is not going to be an all-in. SHIN is going to move out with the Roaches, and he is going to ideally out-trade his opponent, but then should be joining up behind this. I say that, never mind. It looks like he's taking a more defensive route here. Did invest into the Roaches, but he's just trying to be more defensive, trying to keep up with the Hellions and joining. So he's just going to be joining up. He's not going to be moving out. It's more of a defensive opener here by SHIN, not aggressive. Okay. If you recall, this is a build that we assumed was going to be happening in game 1, if you remember. I was talking about how SHIN, he's been known to play with Roaches more defensively than anything, and we were kind of speculating in the first game that could be the case. Didn't happen in game 1, happens here in game 3. So here in game 3 instead. So this can lead into Ling Bane Roach Ravager in the mid game. This can lead in that direction. The other option here for SHIN is gonna be Roaches into Roach Hydra Viper Lurker in a longer game state. We'll see if he gets there. But now SHIN is just trying to maintain himself. He's attempting to. As Banshees, they dip in, they get 2 drones. 2 workers going down. As we can see, Akira just still rotating around, still looking for another way in. Building up his bio. 1-1 is on the way. Stim is on the way. It's still going to take around another 30 seconds before Akira moves out. With that 7-minute push, he's getting there. Building up towards that move out. Meanwhile, SHIN back at home. Looks like it is going to be Ling Bane Roach Ravager. We have Ling Speed on the way. Bailey Ness on the way as well. Ooh, that's going to be a fast hive. That's a little bit greedy here, but okay. Shin rushing into a faster hive. Bold move, Shin. Bold move. We'll see. We'll see if we can get away with it. See if he can get away. But now still droning up. Kira is not pushing. He's going for a drop instead. So this will give Shin more time to actually get away with this tech. So far, so good. It was risky here by the Zerg player, but so far it's paying off. As Shin is keeping up with the drops. Kira, by moving in, he does get eyes on the hive, on the tech. Kira is going for a 4CC, building up and working towards a later game state. And likewise, so is Shin. Shin is run up to 80, solid economy. And yeah, Kira, he doesn't even try to move out, unlike the previous games. And this makes sense. We spoke earlier how Snowpiercer or Frostline is almost like the opposite of Ultra Love, where there's just not as many defensive features in the map and not as many locations that you can abuse. So Kira doesn't even attempt to move out. Not this time. He is respecting the map quite a bit. So that tells us that Kira is going to be more defensive. I mean, 4CC tells that as well. Tell that story. As both players are playing for the late game. Now, I was curious if Shin was going to tech in towards something like Lurker tech, but he's going for +1 melee. That tells us he's going for something more melee based. Ultra Cavern gets thrown down, so it's going to be a Lingbane Roach Ravager into Ultras. Both armies are maxing out, and Kira, he pushes for the first time this game at the 9-minute mark. Goes for a move out. He's got 4 tanks, got a couple of Hellbats as well. Spreading out his army. Shin, I believe, has some Vipers, but is he ready? Is he ready with his blinding clouds? Roach Trombite gets intercepted. Shin does attempt to dive. He's going to be forced back. Here come the Vipers. And with all of these Vipers with his blinding clouds, he can break through. Get blinding clouds on the tanks. Does get both of them down. And Bailey's there roll into the Bio army. We get some decent connections, and it looks like Shin, he should barely have enough. Yeah, with reinforcements, he does. He barely has enough. He cleans up the army, takes out all the tanks, the Hellbats, the Marines, the Bio. Does defend, and thankfully, Shin, he saves the Vipers. Does save both Vipers. He'll be able to retain them and get them ready here for the second wave, for the second attack. Oh, the tanks? No! Tanks able to get caught out. Almost. Shin backs off. Ultra Cavern is done. Ultra upgrades are on the way as well. So Shin just embracing Lingbane Ultra. Roach is really just for Ravagers at this point. As both players are rebuilding. Both players are just building up. God, these Banshees have been alive for the entire game. Finally, we get some power bombs. And finally, one of them is going to go down. Oh, never mind. One of them survives. Just barely. That's a good zone away. Once again, both players have maxed out. Kira pushing towards the north instead. This time, Shin has ultras. And do you see any ghosts? The answer is no. There are no ghosts with Kira's army. Not yet. So the Ghost Academy just started. Uh-oh. And that rush into Hive, it's going to pay off. Ultras are popping out. Bailing's able to roll into the mineral line. No reaction, no response. Massive connections. 17 SCVs go down. And Shin is just getting ready to collapse on the army. Here come those Vipers, getting ready for the blinding clouds. They cover most of the tanks. And Shin, he will clean this up. Bailey's they chase down the Bio. Ultras clean up everything else. I say that. Ooh, the Ultras, they take a lot of hits. Ultras being thinned out. Shin does not have enough. Yeah, he does not have enough here. Cure can break through. Barely done enough from SHIN. Likewise, drop towards the south as well. Cure, he's popping off. He breaks through. Who needs Ghost, Pappy? Who needs him? Oh my god. I mean, it was only 3 Ultras, but yeah, there just wasn't enough Link support there for the Ultras. Too many Banelings, arguably. With that, another expansion goes down. Curie takes down 2 bases. Wins the main fight. You can see SHIN shaking his head there on cams as well. Yeah, again, that earlier fight just went too poorly for him. And Curie snowballing out of control. He's just rallying across the map at this point. Lings are trickling in, Roaches as well, but Cure, he should have enough. Yeah, he should have enough. One bad fight is sometimes all it takes as he's snowballing out of control. We have some Ultras trickling in, but GG gets called, and Cure, he will take the series 2-1. Will take down SHIN and make it through in, I believe, 3rd place in this group. GG. GG, well played. Congratulations. Cure will take that final series. Again, things weren't looking too bad for SHIN, especially with the arrival of the Ultras and with the blinding clouds. I thought SHIN could collapse on that army, but as we saw, too many Banelings, not enough Lings, not enough support for those Ultras, and yeah, sometimes one bad fight is all it takes for things to swing heavily in favor of your opponent. It was one and done there. Cure snowball out of control. With that, GG. GG, well played. Cure does take it, and I believe we will soon get eyes on the final standings and on next week's matches. For those that are curious, every single week, both Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be live here with Master Coliseum, and I believe next week should be Group B. Next week should be Group B, so I'm sure we're soon going to be having a gander at those matches, not that group. We'll get there. We'll get there. Whew. But again, GG, well played. Intense matches overall. Again, some of the highlights here of the night, if you missed out on them, I do recommend watching Astrea versus Serral and Serral versus SHIN. Some very close matches, very close games were held. Serral may have won them, but again, almost did lose both of them, actually. Like, it was close games. Likewise, SHIN and Cure was a little bit more straightforward, and there are the final standings. We have Serral in 1st place and Astrea in 2nd. We had Cure and SHIN in 3rd and 4th, respectively. They are going to be knocked out of the tournament, and Serral and Astrea, they advance on. They advance on here into the playoffs. Congrats. Well played. Well played, Packy. Well played. So they will be advancing on, and there it is. There is Group B ahead of us. Next weekend, next Saturday and Sunday, we're going to be featuring Max Pax, Raynor, Rogue, and Skillous. Skillous, of course, he popped off during the qualifiers. If you missed out, I recommend the VODs. We casted every single qualifier, and Skillous, how did he qualify? He knocked Solar out of the tournament. He knocked Solar out of the qualifier. That is how Skillous made it this far, and we have the matches. So it's going to be Max Pax versus Skillous in the PvP, Max Pax versus Raynor in the PvZ, and Skillous versus Rogue in another Protoss versus Zerg matchup. No Terrans in this group, purely Protoss and Zerg instead. Let's go, baby, let's go. So a lot of really fun matches here. Of course, when it comes to Max Pax, when it comes to these online events, this is where he really has the pressure on to really showcase his skill, showcase his prowess. Max Pax does not compete in offline events like EWC or EPT or IEM or DreamHacks or anything like that, or Home Story Cups. It's all about tournaments like this, tournaments like Massive Coliseum, the Wardy TV tournaments, these online events. This is where Max Pax is ideally meant to shine and really show himself off to the rest of the world, to see how he compares to the other best players in the world. So we'll see how he can perform. We'll see if he can make it out of the groups. Otherwise, thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in. It was a bit of a faster day. Again, it's only 3 best of 3s, only 3 best of 3, so a bit of a shorter broadcast here. That is not the match that we just had. There we go. But a bit of a shorter broadcast here tonight, and we're going to be back tomorrow with some more StarCraft. As always, we're live on a daily basis, sometimes multiple times a day. The next broadcast on the CranKy Ducklings is going to be the Wardy TV Monday. Wardy TV Monday tomorrow in less than 24 hours. That is your weekly dose of open StarCraft, where you can see the Koreans and Europeans face off against each other. Because Astrea is already on this kind of time slot, he's already waking up at around this time, he might even play as well in tomorrow's tournament. It's possible. Or he might just sleep in. It's like after an intense weekend, and it was very intense for Astrea, it's possible he might just sleep. And I mean, it's well-deserved sleep there for Astrea if he so chose to. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching. We'll see you guys the next time we do see you. Tomorrow is going to be the World TV Monday. We have a back-to-back broadcast tomorrow. It's going to be World TV Monday into Sea Duckling Open. If you're curious, Sea Duckling Open, I should have said this yesterday, but it was ideally meant to be on Friday, but we did postpone Sea Duckling Open. We were not available to cover and cast the event live, so instead we gathered all the replays, and we will be having a replay cast after World TV Monday tomorrow. So that is going to be the plan. It's going to be main event, World TV Monday into Sea Duckling Open. Then we have the Pigastore Monday on Tuesday. That's just how it works. We have the Monday on Tuesday. We have Code for Giants Cup on Wednesday, Sparkling Tuning Cup, the National Tussle, Pondcast, and the MC Show Match on Friday. Let's go. Let us go, Papi. Let's go. So again, a lot of StarCraft to come. Otherwise, thanks for watching. If you want to follow us, if you want to support us, you can do so via the social medias. You can follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and Discord. All things CranKy Ducklings. You can follow us if you so choose to, as we do try to get that going. And again, we'll see you guys tomorrow for some more StarCraft. See you then. See you then, Papi. See you then.
他最后这手感染太准了，最近半年 ZVP 56-3给自己点一个赞，冠军。
I don't think Serral has any chance to save this one, but he continues.
It gets killed coming back, and Bunny just doesn't seem to have the numbers in. Look at that!
Didn't even notice the Liberator in the main base, I think. So many probes are going down right now.
Oh my god, they're trying to get back, but they can't, and so many are picked up.
A big clump here from Carey. Tries to split everything up.
Giant force of fadelings rolling in and clearing the hell. That's massive. Clone!
Serral did it all, and he is a well-deserving champion.